Part 79. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Which John Word. Chapter 781. Chapter 781, I just can't learn to call Dad. But the more Sunian behaves like this, the more Bao wants to do something and show off in front of his mother. But the more anxious you are, the less capable you are. At this moment, Li Baikan's voice rang out, Nian, I think we should not give Bao too much expectations. I think the more we give Bao too much expectations, the greater the pressure on Bao will be. After all, for me, just let Bao be healthy. Sunian nodded when he heard this. Also, Bao is only so old now and is indeed not suitable for too much pressure. Sunian felt like a beast when he thought about the pressure placed on a child who was not yet 1 year old. But Bao was unhappy when he heard this. What is called Bao? Health is good. The words were really forced, as if Bao was not smart. How could Bao not be smart? Just like that, the next moment, a loud mom sounded in the room. Ha ha ha, Bao, please shout again. Mom. Just like that, the whole room was filled with laughter and laughter. Li Baikan, who was standing next to him, thought. This may be what is called happiness. At the same time, I was also thinking, Bao can call mom, so Dad should be here soon. When he thought of this, Li Baikan felt much better. Bao, who made his mother happy, was also in a good mood. The following days, everyone began to teach Bao how to speak. Li Jianhong's grandpa, Sun Ying'er's aunt, even Zhou Qi's uncle. Bao is having a hard time learning to speak now, but he is learning very seriously. Only, Li Baikan's father. Bao didn't take it seriously when he was studying, and he didn't even pay attention to it. Of course Li Baikan knew that this little guy was still angry. He put the little guy in front of him, and then asked him to sit face to face with him. Are you so angry? You are still angry now. Bao's blinking eyes looked innocent. He just doesn't know how, but he wants to see what this father will do. Bao, this is your fault. You clearly promised your mother not to be angry with your father. Why are you still angry now? Does this count as cheating on your mother? Isn't your behavior a bit bad? Bao snorted coldly when he heard this. Scare children. With such an attitude, wouldn't it be a dream to hear yourself called Dad? Bao, either you tell Dad how you can forgive him. As long as you tell him, Dad will definitely agree to it. Bao looked at his good father. Looking at him like this, others might think he is very sincere. But Bao just wanted to slap this man directly in the face. Haha, say what you want. I can only say a few words now, and what conditions will I tell you? It's really not an ordinary person who can coax children. Bao, just say it. If you just say it, then Dad will definitely satisfy you. Why don't you say it? Bao. Li Baikan felt that as a father, he must give good guidance and guide most child to learn things. Bao was really annoyed by being talked about. Immediately, he reached out and slapped his father directly on the face. Li Baikan. Are you so angry? The key point is that this little guy looks completely different in front of his mother. He looks like he is trying hard to say daddy but can't learn it no matter what. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Which John Word. Chapter 782. Chapter 782. Good boy, so I'm waiting for him here. Now for Li Baikan. No big thing is as important as Bao calling him daddy. So Li Baikan didn't go to the company these days, so he taught Bao to call him daddy at home. He believes that if you teach well, then it will definitely be possible. At the same time, this has been his lifelong obsession. When Sunian came back and saw the sad-looking man sitting on the sofa, he couldn't help but smile. Will Mo Bao not learn to call him dad today? Li Baikan smiled and shook his head when he heard this. When Sunian came to his side, he hugged the woman into his arms. Your husband, I have been wronged. Please give me a good hug. Li Baikan not only said this, but also said it in a very aggrieved voice, which really made Sunian laugh out loud. It was Mo Bao who made you feel wronged. If you feel uncomfortable, just go to Mo Bao directly. Why do you still want to hold me responsible when you look like this? Sunian felt that he could not be taken advantage of, so he began to struggle. I don't want to take advantage of you, but I miss you. I don't know why. No matter how bad I feel much better after meeting you. Really? Really? But after saying this, Li Baikan kissed Sunian the face. You must know that you are my baby, the biggest baby in this life. No matter what happens to me, but after meeting you, I will be in a very good mood, so you must let me kiss you well, you must kiss me well. Such words made Sunian really laugh non-stop. This guy is really enough. Just when Li Baikan was about to pick up this little woman and let her coax him well, Mo Bao crawled to his feet. Li Baikan. What else could Li Baikan do? He could only put the little woman in his arms on the sofa. Then he squatted down with a gentle face. Mo Bao, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? Sleep. Mo Bao said the two words with difficulty. But these two words succeeded in making Li Baikan's face look a little ugly. After all, Mo Bao can even say daddy when sleeping, but he can't say daddy. This was not intentional. What else could it be? Now Li Baikan really wants to pull such brat over and spank him hard. Mo Bao looked at the ugly face of the man in front of him, and felt extremely happy. Hey, the word sleep is very difficult. It is really not easy to practice these two characters. But now, it's really worth it. Super value. Sleep. Mo Bao, you would say sleep. So what do you mean? Are you sleepy and want to sleep? If that's the case, then daddy will take you to sleep, okay. What else can Li Baikan do now? After all, the Mo Bao in front of him is still too young and is not ready for beating. Besides, parents who beat others are not good parents. Unexpectedly, Mo Bao shook his head after hearing this. Seeing Mo Bao shaking his head, Li Baikan frowned slightly, and then said tentatively, what do you mean, Mo Bao? Do you want dad to sleep with you? Mo Bao started shaking his head crazily when he heard this. Isn't it possible to do it under any conditions? If that's the case, then keep your word. Li Baikan immediately understood what Mo Bao meant. If you don't sleep with him, you can't hear him call you daddy. Good boy, so I'm waiting for him here. But what else could Li Baikan do except agree to it? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 783. Chapter 783 Asleep. Li Baikan, who originally wanted to hold his precious wife in his arms at night, could only accept his fate and pick up Mo Bao and walk to the guest room. Of course, after taking a few steps, Li Baikan couldn't help but stop and look at Sunian. Then I saw Sunian laughing so hard that he couldn't help himself. Fortunately, it's only one night. But it turned out that what Li Baikan thought was a bit too simple. More than one night. But the whole next half-month. Mo Bao asked him to accompany him. And let him sleep with you, so you won't sleep. As soon as Li Baikan wanted to say something, Mo Bao looked at him with his big tearful eyes. With such a look in his eyes, what else could Li Baikan do? You can only do it according to Mo Bao's wishes. For this dad, it can be said that he really paid a lot. The more Lee Baiken behaves like this, the happier Mo Bao feels. This is the method he figured out. Okay, Mo Bao also admitted that he didn't sleep well with his father in his last life, so this life can be regarded as a little satisfying, just a little wish. Ahem, cough, cough, mainly because I want to make him, a good father, feel uncomfortable. One night, when Sunian was about to go to bed, the door was pushed open. The moment she heard the sound, Sunian immediately put down her phone, lay down, and closed her eyes to pretend to sleep. The next moment, the man's deep voice sounded in her ears, "If you want to pretend to be asleep, hide the smile on your face first." Sunian buried herself under the quilt after hearing this. Then she felt the man's big hands wrap around her waist. Asleep. Sunian didn't speak. The man slowly kissed her earlobe. The slight numbness made her bite her lip. But the more this happens, the more men go too far. Did you really sleep? At this moment, the man's hands reached into his clothes. Wei Xuan's fingers wandered over the smooth skin. She couldn't pretend anymore. But Lee Baiken listened to Sunian's inner complaints. What's going on with this guy? He obviously promised Mo Bao to sleep with him, so why did he come back in the middle of the night? This is obviously cheating. It's really abominable. I won't wake up. I'll see what he can do to me. In the darkness, the man raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He gently turned the person over. Are you really so cruel? Do you really don't care about me? After Lee Baiken finished speaking, he could clearly see the corners of the woman's lips rising. I almost forgot. Even if you don't wake up and don't cooperate with me on some things, it doesn't matter. I can be self-reliant. The body filled with male body pressed on Sunian's body. It seemed as if a fire was approaching a haystack, and the fire was about to break out. How could Sunian keep pretending in such a situation? She opened her eyes and looked at him with a smile. Aren't you sleeping with Mo Bao? You ran back so secretly, aren't you afraid that Mo Bao will wake up? I found that you can't speak. Forget it, wouldn't your efforts for the past half-month be in vain? You also know that I have been working hard for half a month. Lee Baiken's breath was a little quick. I haven't touched your body in the past half-month. Today, even if the sky falls, I will touch your body. Sunian rarely saw Lee Baiken in such a hurry. After all, she spent a lot of thought and time to take down this guy. However, Sunian still feels a little proud now, feeling that the lofty Buddha has been pulled down from the altar by him. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 784. Chapter 784, he shouted, Dad, in a daze. You didn't seem to be so anxious before. Sunian hugged his neck. Different understood what the little woman beneath him meant. Lee Baiken really misses Sunian. The desire is there, but he hopes to be closer to her. But he is sensible. The woman he loves has suffered so much to give birth to a child, how could he hurt her because of his own desires? Before, although it was a bit difficult to bear, at least I could give her a simple hug at night and enjoy plum blossoms to quench my thirst. But now, Lee Baiken kept talking about love. It's like a hunter who sees his prey about to enter his trap, so he keeps coaxing him, hoping to coax the prey in quickly. In such a hurry, what else could Sunian do, other than to cooperate obediently? Just when the arrow is on the string and has to be fired. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Lee Baiken. Sunian. Although Lee Baiken knew that he would forgive his sins in this life and make up for his wife and children. But there is no need to forgive in this regard. Lee Baiken didn't want to worry about it. He kissed the little woman underneath him fiercely. But Mo Bao's knocking on the door showed no sign of stopping. In such a situation, how could Sunian pretend that she didn't hear anything? She pushed the man on her body and said, Stop making trouble. What else can Li Baikan do? You can only get up silently. When he opened the door, he saw Mo Bao sitting on the ground. At first he was indeed feeling a little uncomfortable, but when he saw Mo Bao, any so-called discomfort was gone. Mo Bao, if you don't sleep, what are you doing here? When Mo Bao woke up in the middle of the night and didn't see the man next to him, he knew where someone had gone. Mo Bao was also troubled at first. After all, he was an adult in his previous life and understood his father's thoughts. But then I thought about it. Before, he usually slept until dawn, but not today. Isn't this what God meant? Since it is God's will, how can a child like him have the courage to disobey it? That's right, that's the truth. So Mo Bao is here. Mo Bao didn't say anything but just looked at Li Baikan. Li Baikan felt a little guilty when he was looked at with such eyes. What else could he do? He could only bend down and pick up Mo Bao with resignation. Hey, okay, it's all my fault, it's all Dad's fault, Dad shouldn't leave, Daddy will go back to sleep with you now. After hearing this, Mo Bao leaned on his father's shoulders again. Although he also felt that what he did was a bit excessive, there was nothing he could do about it. This was God's will. He couldn't blame himself even if he wanted to. That's right, that's what it means. Wait until you return to the room. Li Baikan carefully put Mo Bao on the bed and patted his belly gently. Mo Bao stared at the man for a while. He didn't see a trace of impatience on the man's face before he yawned. Although it is a bit regretful that I did not see the anxious and angry look on my father's face, it is a little regretful. However, Mo Bao was still a little happy in his heart. Forget it, since he has been so kind to me during this period, I won't bother him. Mo Bao was thinking about it in a daze. So Li Baikan heard a vague dad. When he heard these two words, Li Baikan gently hugged the child tightly in his arms. Well, I finally calmed down and called me daddy. It seems that daddy will never offend you again. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 785. Chapter 785. Huo opened another clothing company. Sunian found that he was becoming more and more interested in fashion design. At first, I felt that as the owner of a clothing company, and if the company was already established, if I didn't understand anything, people might laugh at me if word spread about it. Not getting more and more interested now. Even to the point of forgetting to eat and sleep. Sun Ying'er couldn't help but smile when she saw Sunian looking so serious and said, with your attitude, I really feel that I might be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company in the future. Sister, why are you so conservative in your dreams? What do you mean by being one of the top 500 companies in the future? Can't we be a top 100 company or even number one in the world? These words really made Sun Ying'er laugh. Yes, Nian, you are right. As a sister, I am so short-sighted and timid even in my dreams. If we want to do it, we must go big. I even feel that the luckiest thing in my life is meeting you. To be honest, I really feel that after I met Nian you, my luck really improved and my life became meaningful. When Sun Ying'er said this, she walked behind Sunian and squeezed Sunian's shoulders, but you have to take care of your body. Don't think that I don't know that you are busy in the company, just because I am afraid that Baikan will say something about you. Are you really? Do you think I didn't tell you? Sister, what do you mean by this? What's wrong with me? I just watch and play for a while. Sun Ying'er also knew that Sunian knew what was going on, but she still felt that she needed to nag more in Sunian's ears, so that Sunian would not forget about her body. Okay, let's get down to business. I recently received news that there is a fashion design conference. Nian, do you have any ideas? After saying this, Sun Ying'er returned to her desk, and then took out a document and gave it to Sured. Sunian took the file and started looking at it. Sun Yan didn't pay attention to this design conference at all in his previous life. After all, Lee Group had no business in the clothing industry. Judging from the information, this design conference is organized by the government in order to improve the domestic clothing level. If you stand out in this design conference, you can get endorsement from the industry. This is better for the company's development. This is indeed a good opportunity. But seizing this opportunity and how to seize this opportunity really need to be carefully considered. We do have some good designers, but they are not enough, at least not enough to stand out in this competition. So if we hire such powerful designers with high salaries, that's okay, but it's a bit risky. Sun Yan understood what she meant. It is true that if you are willing to spend money, you can hire good designers, but the biggest fear in the clothing industry is plagiarism and leaked patterns. If designers are hired with high salaries, there is no guarantee that the designers are of the same mind as them, and there will be a lot of trouble in the future. But if you don't want to hire someone with a high salary, and you can't give up, then you have to think of a way. There is still a lot of time now, we can think about it slowly, don't rush now. Let's take a look at the current moisture level. Okay, but at this moment, Sun Ying thought of a funny point. By the way, there is one more thing I almost forgot to tell you. Sun Yan raised his head and looked over. Huo opened another clothing company. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 786. Chapter 786. Things are changing. Sun Yan almost burst out laughing when he heard this. And I heard that Huo Linyuan's ears are a bit big, and he has the attitude of flattening the entire clothing industry. Sun Ying's voice was full of contempt. Nian, it seems that we should be more careful. After all, if we are not careful, if it doesn't, then there may not be any good days in the future. Sun Yan nodded seriously. But I really don't know what Huo Linyuan is thinking. Even if he reopens a company, if he wins, he will bully us two women. If he loses, he will turn this company into rubbish. How can your face still look good? Although Sun Yan sighed, he understood. This is the face-slapping routine in Mary Sue novels. Usually in novels, a character like her is expected to die soon, but Sun Yan knew that she had to be careful and not fall into the trap of the male protagonist. Who knows, let's take our time and see what Huo Linyuan wants to do. I also want Huo Linyuan to taste what it feels like to fail. Sun Yan raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. Since my sister thinks so. As a younger sister, of course I have to be satisfied. Just when the two of them got it right, there was a knock on the office door. Sun Ying casually said, "Come in." Then look over. Unexpectedly, he saw Lu Jing with a bruised nose and swollen face. Can't help but laugh out loud. "And son, how can you still smile when my handsome face looks like this? I think the people in this world who don't laugh when they see you like this are probably people with something wrong." Sun Yan didn't expect Lu Jing to be like this. Originally, Lu Jing didn't want to come out during this period. After all, he, the eldest son of the Lu family, a multimillionaire and the heir to a top family, also wanted to save face. However, when he heard that Huo Linyuan was going to re-enter the clothing industry, he immediately became excited and left. Isn't it obvious that he is going to compete with Sun Yan? His clever brain told him that there must be benefits to this matter. So he restrained his pride and then came. And son, I don't care, you have to take responsibility. If Josu hadn't been too cruel, how could I have become like this? You know, I couldn't go out in the past few days. Sun Ying saw Lu Jing like this. Suddenly I thought about the days when I didn't have this guy hanging around me these past few days. She actually felt that life without this guy was really a bit deserted. After all, there will definitely not be an adult man in this world who is so arrogant. Sun Yan approached Lu Jing and said, "Why do I suddenly feel that this guy Josu is deceiving me?" "Well, that guy Josu just likes to do things both in disguise and in disguise. Auntie, you are really clever and clever. There is no way he can hide it from you." Lu Jing became more energetic when he heard Sun Yan said that Josu was submissive in disguise. After all, Josu beat him so hard, and he really wanted to make Josu feel uncomfortable too. Now that there is such a good opportunity, how could Lu Jing let it go? The tide is turning. Josu. Die. Under Lu Jing's expectant eyes, Sun Yan said thoughtfully, "I asked him to teach you a lesson. Is this how he taught you a lesson? Look at your face, it's not asymmetrical at all, and you don't have any skills at all. No, are you really not afraid of people making fun of you if you spread the word?" End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 787. Chapter 787. Lu Jing is becoming more and more silly and sweet. Lu Jing's face suddenly turned ugly. You must know that Lu Jing had a bruised nose and face, and now his face is so ugly. Can Lu Jing's face still be visible now? And do you still want to rely on us? Sun Yan looked at it with casual eyes. Lu Jing quickly shook his head. I was wrong. I was really wrong. How could I be so bold and still rely on you guys? I was really wrong. And, please give me another chance. Sun Yan didn't say anything, just looked at him lightly. But the look in Sun Yan's eyes made Lu Jing even more panicked. And okay, just know you're wrong and speak normally. Don't be like this. Do you try your best to get Lan Zhen? Can Lan Zhen like you like this? Can you show some manly spirit? Lu Jing straightened up when he heard this. What we women want is very simple, we just want a man to rely on. If you don't have any masculinity, how can you make people feel dependent on you? Go out and think about it. Lu Jing saw Sun Yan's serious look and could only leave in despair. Sun Ying'er smiled when she saw Lu Jing's back. You continue reading, and I'll go check on Lu Jing. After all, although Lu Jing wants to rely on us and fish in troubled waters, he can't hurt us, and he can't be too cruel. It is our virtue to care for the weak. That's right, she guessed what Lu Jing meant as soon as he came in. There is no other way, just contact Lu Jing, that's the good thing, you don't have to guess Lu Jing's thoughts at all. Lu Jing could barely express his thoughts directly on his face. Lu Jing, who was driven out, was like a puppy being driven out by his owner. He doesn't know why he doesn't have the ability to coax women. If he had some ability, it wouldn't be like this. But now Lu Jing really doesn't know what to do. He has done so much and Lan Min didn't even come to him. Lu Jing really feels a little regretful now. If he had known that this was the case, he would have just gone all out and struck out ruthlessly, then he might not have been like this. Maybe now I can embrace the beauty. But who makes Sun Yan and Sun Ying'er so interesting? Are you scolding me and Nian in your heart? At this moment, Sun Ying'er suddenly called out. Swear, do I have the guts? Lu Jing couldn't help but mutter. After muttering, Lu Jing raised his head directly. When he saw Sun Ying'er, he immediately stood up straight. Really not, I really don't have the courage, and Sun, you showed up so suddenly. You know what, it's very scary for you to appear so suddenly and suddenly speak in my ear. What if you really scare me out of something? Sun Ying'er, do you want to rely on me again? How can I say that I'm relying on you? I'm obviously talking about serious things. And Sun, it's okay for you to talk to me now, but what if you talk to others and make others angry? It will definitely cause trouble for you, and Sunday, I think. And Sun, you definitely don't want to be that kind of troublesome person. Sun Ying'er looked at this chirping man. Recently, This guy didn't know where he learned the tactics of a domineering president, and he wanted to get Lan Min. Now, how does Sun Ying feel? If we really talk about idol dramas, Lu Jing might be the silly one in the entire idol drama. After this idea appeared, Sun Ying felt more and more similar. It was really super similar. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 788. Chapter 788 Don't reveal your IQ. The word Sabatian has always been used to describe women. Now used to describe Lu Jing. It's really not inconsistent. Lu Jing felt a little frightened for no reason when Sun Ying stared at her like this, and Sun, you are looking at me like this. We understand what you mean. We know that Huo Linyuan has reopened a clothing company and that he wants to deal with us. You come together because you want to fish in troubled waters. In fact, you can really say it clearly. Lu Jing paused, but and Sun, if I tell you directly, it won't make me think you are stupid. Sun Ying? Are you sure you can be taken advantage of by me? I know you can see it, but I think it's better to go through the process, which will be beneficial to both of us. After hearing this, Sun Ying's eyes changed when she looked at Lu Jing. Is it an illusion or something? She actually thought this guy was a bit witty. This made Sun Ying couldn't help but close her eyes, then open her eyes and look again. Make sure you are not dazzled. But when Lu Jing saw her like this, he immediately lost his composure. What do you mean? Why do you look at me like this? I'm really smart, but sometimes I don't show it. Sun Ying It is said that wealth should not be exposed to others, but there is no reason why intelligence should not be exposed to others. This logic is really awesome. But let's talk openly now. You also know what I want. If this is the case, then Aunt Sun, you and your aunt will really consider cooperating with me. I can guarantee that I will listen to your words and fight wherever you point me. Absolutely, I won't be disobedient. When Lu Jing said this, he raised his palms as a promise. Sun Ying smiled when she saw him like this. It doesn't matter if you agree. With a brain like Lu Jing's, it's impossible for him to calculate even if he wanted to. So Sun Ying nodded. After seeing Sun Ying nodding, Lu Jing was so happy that he almost flew into the sky. It's great, it's so beautiful. I didn't expect Aunt Sun that you are so good. You are really my biological aunt. After saying this, when he came, he subconsciously reached out his hand, as if he wanted to hug Sun Ying. But when Sun Ying saw him like this, she immediately stopped her. No, don't do anything. If you have anything to say, just say it properly. If you really don't want to say it, then I don't mind letting Josu do it properly. Teach you. When he heard this, Lu Jing immediately retracted his hand and stood still. At this moment, Lu Jing's cell phone rang. Lu Jing took out his cell phone. When he saw the name on the phone, his eyes lit up. Finally called me. Aunt Sun, look, called me. Did she accept it? I have no control over you, so you have to bow to me. If this is the case, then can I hold the beauty back? Sun Ying saw Lu Jing so excited. She is really a little envious of Lan Zhen now. Lu Jing collected his emotions and cleared his throat. The purpose of doing this is to make his voice colder, so that he can appear more ruthless on the phone. After answering the call, Lu Jing frowned after hearing what was said on the phone. After hanging up the phone, Lu Jing looked at Sun Ying anxiously. And Sun Ying asked me to come over and said he wanted to see me for something very important. I'll leave first. After saying this, he left directly without giving Sun Ying time to react. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 789. Chapter 789. Lu Jing's call comes again. Sun Ying saw Lu Jing's back. Actually, she could guess why Lan Ren was looking for Lu Jing, but she still hoped that this silly boy's wish would come true and he would be a beautiful woman. That evening, Sun Ying received a call from Lu Jing. To be precise, someone else took Lu Jing's phone and called her. Sun Ying had a headache when she heard the other side of the phone saying that Lu Jing was drunk. She still remembered the last time Lu Jing got drunk and dragged her into a sworn relationship. No matter what method she used, she had to make Lu Jing change. Sun Ying immediately hung up the phone. Who cares about him? She is not his mother, so why should she care about it? And every time I try to take care of him, I will be embarrassed. Face is something that can be thrown away casually. You must know that she is only in her 20s and will live for decades in the future. If she loses her face now, what will she do in the future? Can't go, can't go. Although Sun Ying thought so, she was still a little worried about what would happen if something happened to this guy Lu Jing. But then I thought about it, what could happen to Lu Jing? After all, Lu Jing is a real adult. What can happen? Besides, he is still a big man. How could something happen to a grown man and he would not suffer any loss? Just like this, the more Sun Ying thought about it, the more she couldn't sleep. Finally, there is nothing else she can do, this big enemy, but go. When they arrived at the place, Sun Ying didn't see Lu Jing, who was drunk to the pulp. But he sat there numbly, his eyes empty, as if he had no soul. Lu Jing, what's wrong with you? Sun Ying walked to Lu Jing's side and asked tentatively. But Lu Jing didn't respond. This made Sun Ying a little worried and confused. What's going on? What's going on with Lu Jing? Sun Ying turned her attention to the person next to her. Miss Sun, this young Master Lu has just come here without saying a word, and we don't know what happened. After hearing this, Sun Ying turned her attention to Lu Jing. But soon Sun Ying realized something was wrong. If he didn't say a word, how did you know to call me? The people next to him were slightly stunned when they heard this. Obviously he did not expect Sun Ying to ask this question. Under Sun Ying's gaze, the man was silent for a moment before continuing, Miss Sun, it's like this. Before he fell silent, Mr. Lu gave us his mobile phone and said to call someone if anything happens. When Sun Ying heard this, she didn't know what to say. Lu Jing's IQ has really improved significantly recently. Sun Ying didn't want to embarrass these people, so she waved them away. After the others left, Sun Ying sat next to Lu Jing. Hey, what's wrong? You're like this, so lost. Don't say anything. You brought me here. If you don't say anything, then I'll leave. After all, I'm very busy and I don't have time to spend time with you here. Unexpectedly, Sun Ying finished speaking. Lu Jing didn't react at all. This made Sun Ying even more curious. What did Lan Ren say when he called this guy over to make him become like this? I'm really a little curious. Super curious. Just like that, Sun Ying stayed by Lu Jing's side without saying anything. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 790. Chapter 790. There is no grass anywhere in the world. Sun Ying originally thought she would sit down for a while. Lu Jing can express his feelings. Unexpectedly, Lu Jing remained silent for so long this time. Even Sun Ying felt sleepy. She yawned and felt that wasting time here was not an option. Tell me what happened. If you don't tell me, how should I comfort you? If you really don't want my comfort, I will leave and I won't follow you here. You're wasting your time. But Lu Jing still had no reaction. With no other choice, Sun Ying stood up and looked like she wanted to walk outside. But when Sun Ying took a few steps, Lu Jing's voice finally sounded, "Lan Min wants to introduce me to my girlfriend." These words made Sun Ying turn her head and look at Lu Jing in disbelief. What does Lu Jing mean by this, and what does it mean to introduce him to a girlfriend? But then I thought about it. After introducing Lu Jing to his girlfriend, he will not be entangled with her anymore. If Sun Ying's guess is correct, the girlfriend introduced by Lan Zhi to Lu Jing should be a woman Lan Zhi knows, and can even be said to be a woman he has control over. She also wants you to be happy, and happy. Sun Ying couldn't help but feel relieved when she saw Lu Jing like this. Happy and happy, I have been so straightforward. I don't believe it. She can't see my heart. After Lu Jing said this, he directly picked up the bottle and took a sip of wine. I'm madly in love, but I can't help but be humiliated by her. Humiliation, this made Sun Ying a little curious. How come this introduction to my girlfriend is so involved in humiliation? Just when Sun Ying was confused, Lu Jing's voice sounded again. She actually introduced her best friend Yang Jing to me. Don't I know what Yang Jing and her father did? Let's not say that Yang Jing and I didn't. Maybe, even if I am really blind and fall in love with Yang Jing, my child may not be able to take the civil service exam after 3 generations of political censorship. Sun Ying She found that she really couldn't keep up with Lu Jing's thinking. Why is it related to the public examination? Let's not talk about other things, it's Lu Jing's child. Isn't that the future heir of the Lu family? Is it useful? Well, there is no grass anywhere in the world. Sun Ying thought about it over and over, and could only think of these words to comfort Lu Jing. I know you think I'm stupid, and you don't like me very much, but why do you do this to me? Why? Sun Ying was a little moved when she saw Lu Jing's appearance. Well, just a little. Then he cleared his throat. Well, if you are a little more reliable, then I won't dislike you. When Lu Jing heard this, the expression on his face suddenly turned into aggrieved. How can I be more reliable? Why am I not reliable? And Sun, you can't say that. Sun Ying didn't say anything after hearing this. She sneered a few times and looked at him like this. Such an expression made Lu Jing feel even more aggrieved. Is there no one in this world who doesn't dislike me? I am sometimes unreliable, but I am reliable most of the time. Sun Ying smiled politely. Okay, I promise you. Sun Ying finally couldn't help it and burst into laughter. Actually, your question is a good one. There is no one who despises you in this world. How do you look at this? We despise you. It's just a casual talk. If I really dislike you in my heart, it's not disgust, but disgust. End of this chapter.